Hi everybody, Sam from RoadTrailRun. We're going to talk about two shoes that are sort of rarities these days. Unplated 10mm drop up-tempo trainers. I can only think of two, and I think I have them both here, but if you think of any others, please comment. So the Nike Pegasus Plus, $180, coming out in August, and the Adizero SL2 already out, not to be confused with its much firmer earlier version. Both of these shoes weigh almost exactly the same in my US 8.5, or about 8.42 ounces, 239 grams. Both of them have about the same stack height. The Pegasus Plus, and the Plus comes from more stack height than the prior Pegasus Turbo Nature, is at 35 heel, 25 forefoot, and we have 1mm more here in the Adidas. So both are 10mm drop shoes, again a rarity these days. And that kind of drop really is appreciated on the run, I think, because it really plunges you forward when you want to move. Our Adizero is $130, and our Pegasus Plus is $180, a $50 difference. And when it comes right down to it, the difference mainly is in the upper here, the comparative uppers. The Nike upper is more secure, more performance oriented. It has a padded leatherette tongue, you can see here. It has underlays, you may be able to see the blue in there for midfoot support. It has a rigid heel counter, you can see with a bit of the elf. This is a lockdown performance upper. The Adidas has no gusset tongue, just the simple tongue. It's a single layer mesh. There are no overlays beyond the 3 stripes. I think it's a pretty snazzy looking shoe. The heel counter is semi-flexible. It is a more, if you will, relaxed, simpler upper. Might work a bit better for a broader foot, but it isn't quite the upper that the Nike has. Now, the Nike upper is not quite as roomy. Those that remember the original Peg Turbo, this one looks exactly the same, with the infamous webbing strap. When I first tried them on, I could feel it sort of pressing on my dodgy big toenail. That softened up some, but I just wonder why they might not just do that more kind of visual than an actual webbing strap. Whereas the Adidas has a somewhat broader toe area because it's really unstructured. Now, but of course, we always like to talk about the ride. Well, the rides are quite similar. We have the same drop, we have about the same weight, we have about the same stack height, but there are some differences. The Adidas has Light Strike 2.0, but this is a much softer Light Strike than what you might remember from the SL1. And in the center, it has a core of Adidas top-end Light Strike Pro, also soft. So this shoe is softer riding, somewhat softer riding than our Nike. Of course, our Nike Plus is all Zoom X, our famous Zoom X. It's a springier kind of feel than the more, I would say, bouncy feel here. Now, in terms of flex, let's take a look. We have a nicely flexible, fairly front flexing here in the Adidas, and in our Nike, a similar flex, even more flexible. You can see, look how flexible that is. So both of these shoes, I think, are great to work your feet outside of the kind of plated things we see now in most training shoes, and both of them make a good complement. The Adidas ride is, I would call a fun, shorter run kind of shoe. It's super fun to run. Not quite as stable, not quite as upper secure, but at $50 less, it's a real bargain. It has a really nice outsole. You can see the Light Strike Pro peeking through the windows. plenty of rubber. It's not, I don't think it's not Continental rubber, but it's still, they're very good AdiWear rubber. Our Nike has a, I would say, trail-worthy outsole. Really good grip here. You can easily run some trails. Its platform is a little bit, its platform is a little bit wider, so it's 5 millimeters wider at 115 in the front than the Adidas. The midfoot is actually a little narrower at 65 versus 70, and then the forefoot is the heel. The Nike is 85, and we have 80 over here, so quite similar. So I've run them both, of course, a bit more the Adizero than the Nike, and what you really get is a sensation of kind of plunging forward with that 10 millimeter drop, and particularly in the Nike, a sensation of a really flexible, quick toe off. No plates though. The Zoom X gives you a lot of kind of spring and a lot of kind of action, if you will. Plenty of heel cushion here. I could easily daily train in this because we're at 35-25. The Adidas is a bit softer, a bit more forgiving, not quite as stable, mainly because of the upper. Again, I could daily train in it, but maybe I'd be a little bit less, given my age and so on, a little bit less inclined to do so than the Nike. However, that $50 difference really plays into it. In terms of the overall utility, as I said, there is definitely a place for either of these shoes in a runner's rotation to mix it up with the plated shoes for some of your faster workouts. Both, even though they're rarities in this day and age of plated, both have outstanding foams, mostly supercritical here in the Adidas, although I'd call the Light Strike 2 definitely supercritical in feel, though they don't say it's supercritical. Whereas over here we have the famous Zoom X, which for me still kind of sets the standard for springiness. They're not the lightest shoes, but still decently lightweight at 8.45 ounces, about 240 grams, both of them. Now, if you remember back, and I don't have exact numbers from way back, it may be midsole only, 35-25 for the Pegasus Plus, and I see in our review 28-18 for the original Peg Turbo, but that might have been midsole only, so add about 5 millimeters. The form, I don't have the statistics here for the SL right at hand, but if you had the SL before, it had much firmer Light Strike 1.0 foam and a lower stack height, so Adidas moved this into the kind of light and flexible daily trainer category without a plate to sort of complement the Boston, whereas the Peg Turbo, the Pegasus Plus was something really since the last Pegasus Turbo 2 that Nike really didn't have anything in their lineup that was something other than kind of heavier or plated, your Tempo Next or your Vaporfly. So this is a really good add to their line. What would I do differently? Well, I think I might consider a teeny plate in here, more like the what the Streak Fly had, to give it a teeny bit more snap, but it stays true to its non-plated kind of more natural running. I would also remove the strap, do something different, might actually reduce weight, maybe just paint it. Whereas in the Adidas at 130, it's still a hell of a bargain because of the ride is so good. The upper is not the most supportive or deluxe, but I guess if they made it 140 and put a bit more structure to the upper, I'd be even happier. Both are outstanding choices. Thank you very much for watching. We have a video review of the Adizero SL2 on the channel. We will have a full multi-tester written review of the Pegasus Plus real soon. It's coming out in August. A great new option from Nike, a bit more than the Turbo. Still the great Zoom X, a very supportive upper. Well done. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great run.